And hello, welcome to the Corn King channel. I'm your host, Donna Crypto TA. I am streaming outside of my norm, which I don't typically stream on weekends. But since the market is taking a bit of a tumble, I know a lot of people, some of your favorites are out there streaming about this drop that we're seeing over this weekend with Bitcoin. Most of it to be expected. But I just wanted to cover some things with you as we're picking up the progression in here, and we have fallen below the 26 EMA. And based on my knowledge or my technical analysis here on Bitcoin, when it comes to the monthly time frame, when we do lose that 26 EMA, that is when the accelerated selling actually starts to take place, and we're inching a bit closer to coming to a low. So right now we're just right here around our 50% retracement. This is from it's actually from this low here. So this low pivot right here to the high right here. I didn't draw this from the absolute low down here. It just, I'm doing it the way I've interpreted before in the past. Um, Whenever we were coming towards our bear market lows. So we haven't taken out this little pivot right here. I do expect for that to happen. And as we get that drop, we should end up somewhere around this golden pocket here. We shouldn't we can, if we see a bit of an extension, then we'll come down here towards this 786. But right now, I do see us taking out this pivot right here. And when I put on the EMA ribbons in here, you can see right here how we've dropped below that 26. When we drop below the 26 EMA, we drop the 50% on the RSI as well. That's bearish, especially for a monthly time frame and something like Bitcoin. It's always when we drop below this 26. As long as we were holding it, a little bit of a retracement, nothing to really, panic about. But once we drop below here, we're also going to drop those. We're also going to fall below 50. They happen together just like that. And then from there, maybe one additional candle, a little bit of sideways price action, something like that. In the past, it's been about a 40, just about a 40 to 50% drop below the 26. So if I measure this one out here, all the way down to where we have this low at here, that's a 55.81% drop below the 26 EMA. And then if I do this drop right here, where we lose the 26 and come down. This one, it's a 44.66% drop below the 26 EMA. Do this one right here. And notice how we lose the 50 as well. So these things happen together. So it's a 43.14. So far you can see roughly around a 40 to, mid 40 to 50% drop. Most of them have been about a mid 40 with that one exception from 2022. And I'm going to take this low right here. So that's a 55% drop right there. And I don't think that we have another occasion. No, we don't have another occasion in here where we have fallen below the 26 and the 50. So if we're doing this one over here and we're looking roughly around a mid 40 to, let's just say 55, around a mid 40, we're going to drop right past this. We're going to drop right past this below a mid 40. But if we come down into here we hit right about the 786 right here. So the 786.816 right here, that's a mid 40% drop. So maybe if we skip over it a little bit to about a 55, it's been about the worst that we've seen so far. We just fall right below this 120, which has never happened before in the past. I don't see that we've ever come that low. And it doesn't go back as far because it is a longer period moving average. But I've never seen us actually go below this 120. So I don't believe that this would be a thing for us, we would stay above it, and then our max pain would be somewhere around here, around about another 45% drop at best for Bitcoin. Now that does give us a little bit of overage from what's considered to be our bear market low territory. And I have seen expansions before in the past. They were never that much, but I use this indicator right here whenever I'm marking that out. So that would give us a slight expansion if we do fall below 49,217 right here. So this is on the dollar index chart. So 49 to 17. If we do see a slight expansion, just like over here, we got a very, very, very small expansion for that 55. We can just round it up and say 56% drop off. Just a very small expansion right there. There hasn't been another time that is actually expanded into that and lower than that. So most of the time it's just inside the cloud and we don't lose it. And that's it. So that was a one exception where we actually got a very slight expansion. Otherwise, we would be somewhere within here around the golden pocket above this momentum line right here. But continuation, I really wouldn't look any further than the 786 right here. Now I know that there is some talk about the head and shoulders, and we did talk about the possibility of a head and shoulders forming on the monthly time frame. I don't see it on the monthly time frames, so therefore I'm not going to even entertain the idea of it, and I'm not going to entertain the idea of a 30 something $1,000 Bitcoin. I'm just not going to entertain that. Like if we're doing 30 something thousand, then we're probably going to come a lot lower than 30. We're going to go lower, in my opinion. Just based on the rainbow chart, we would go lower. So for now, I'm just going to leave it to the possibility of the 786 being the worst case scenario for Bitcoin. And that will be a slight expansion. We're doing anything more than a slight expansion. I mean, all the years of Bitcoin, it has never happened. It's never happened. So we're going to run with the narrative. I guess we can keep the same energy of maybe this time being different, but this time actually has not been different. It has not been different. So until the market proves otherwise, 786 is about going to be the low for Bitcoin. So just keep those numbers in mind. Again, no head and shoulder can be found here. Sure, we can go down to probably the weekly or something like that to manifest this head and shoulders. But I don't see it here, and therefore I'm dismissing it. Breaking what is previously done before. We'll take a step back here on the weekly time frame. So we noted the 50% retracement, which is where we're at right now. The sell side liquidity that's here. So this sell side liquidity and averting taking out this little low right here so far, but we know that eventually is going to happen. But before we even get down into the lows of the bear market, which if I switch this chart right here to this one, I'm on my weekly. Yeah. I'm on my weekly. Now this is an ascending broadening formation. This broadening formation has been on my chart since we got the first two connection points. Yeah, ever since we got the second one right here. This has been on my chart for my my US index pair. I stopped showing it, but I used to post on it all the time. If I do a measured move off of this, because I don't see a head and shoulders here either. So in the weekly time frame, this right here, no. But if I do a measured move for, let's just say the ascending broadening formation, I'm going to take it from the with this point right here, because this point right here actually touches. And then I do the breakdown. And let me just extend this for a sec. Extend it to the right here. And this is where we're actually losing it at, right here. Now that does, let me make sure I got that all the way right. Okay. Now that does imply a measured move down here towards 40,000, 40,500, we'll call it. That does interpret that. But as far as the head and shoulders goes, I just I don't see the 30s being a target. And I would have to draw that from this point here. Let me get it as good as I can get it. Now, if they match up, then different story. I'm gonna slide this one over a bit. That's even less. That's even less. Yeah, so that's 44,000. 355 would be a target if we're going to consider this as a head and shoulder, which I just don't see this as a head and shoulders. Not in the least bit. I don't. Let's try for a bear flag. If I'm going from this high, which I personally don't like bear flag targets, down to here. So they're all hitting around the same place right here. I'm gonna switch this to a monthly time frame just so I can compare. Well, actually, I have it right here, so I really don't have to do that. And just take that away for a sec. And then let me put this on right here. So that's it's a little bit more than a slight expansion if we get that. Like I said, that typically doesn't happen. And then let's just work this out together, all together. I'm gonna take it from the other low as well. But that's yeah, that's the 786. That's the 786. Let's take a look at that. Yeah. So that's the damage for me. It's the 786. With the slight expansion, like we got that slight expansion right here as a possibility. Otherwise, no expansion. We stall out somewhere around this golden pocket into about 49 to 17. The same way we missed that 382, it's possible that we could still miss the 786 because we didn't exactly tap that 382. It's not a rule that says that we have to, you know, and we didn't. And so there won't be a rule that says, hey, we're so close to the 786 that we absolutely have to tap the 786. I'm going to give this the benefit of the doubt simply because there were 3 measured targets and they're all pointing towards the 786. And I'm going to cover this again on Monday at 6 a.m. when I do my stream. But I figure why not just take a look at that with you guys today since the market is taking a bit of a tumble. We haven't really fallen too far, to be honest. We haven't really fallen too far from where we currently were. Even this right here, I think this put us around the golden pocket, something like that. We're gonna have these highs in here. Like we're gonna have some buffer as we get in our fall anyway. We're gonna have a little bit of buffer as we get in our fall. We didn't have any buffer over here. When we got this fall right here, we didn't have any buffer. None. We had no buffer until we got down to here. And that makes a difference as well. Having some prior resistance flipping to support makes a difference. So this is where we start to, find our buffer and we start to cool off on that drop. So we're going to have that right in here. And we're not too far from that happening. We'll still be in the 70 something $1,000 range coming into these highs. So I did just open up a scalp long position. There's nothing in the chart right now that's telling me I should be entering right now, but I am taking a scalp long position because I have a short position open, and I just want to hedge just in case too. So I just opened up a scalp long position here on Bitcoin. This is where we're at. Same thing there on the lower time frame. This was just some stuff that I was mapping out in here. We already knew about the bear flag situation in here, and then this drop right here, where we looked like we were putting in a little falling wedge in here, and then we get that drop. We come back, we try to get back in right here, but we reject, and then we've started this fall right here. So I don't think that there's too much more to worry about in terms of how low we go with Bitcoin. I mean, we've already discussed this plenty of times already. One that I am concerned about though is Solana, and I've expressed my concerns about Solana. We talked about this 108.96. I think the past few streams here recently, we talked about the fact that if we did lose the zone in here, what we'd be looking at would be this weekly level in here. And I've mentioned several times over the past month or two, something like that. It's been a minute now. I know that much. That there is the possibility of Solana falling harder to about $40 to $30 range. And I also shared with you that I unstaked half of my Solana position, and I put that half into cash just because I didn't want to round trip my bag with the possibility of that happening. But right now, we are like that clean drop to our low here at this 96.27 here for Sol. Now, are there some additional levels in here for Solana? There most certainly is. I don't have those on, and I've turned those off because I've discussed with you that once Solana falls below this low, because it doesn't typically do that. We don't typically see the prior low from the previous bear market low get taken out. We don't typically see that. That's usually like where we hold the line there. But my concern was Solana below 120 was something that I kept mentioning. Solana below 120, I don't like it. Solana below 120 is not good. Hey, but we are in bear market territory. So if you were to start accumulating Solana, I didn't think that there would be anything wrong with accumulating it as long as you have the understanding. And these were the final words. As long as you have the understanding that there is a chance Solana can still go down to about around 40 to 30 something bucks roughly. Show you these additional levels in here for Solana as well. Turn that one off and I turn this one on. So once we're getting through that, somewhere right in here, we'll have this 51 to 34. And then we'll also have, now I did add a couple additional weekly levels in here because this range right here is this, it's a pretty large range of consolidation that Solana had on the weekly time frame back over in here. So any one of these levels in here could do. But I think by the time you get here, if we're gonna fall like into like the $30-something thousand $30 level, which like I said, once if we lose that, I mean this is like you don't have a lot through here. There just isn't a lot through here until right in here. And that's also where we have our momentum trend line of support as well. And I think I might be able to do that from here. Let's see if I can do it right here. Try to get it as good as I can get it. I think this may be. Is this the one? Is this the one, or is it this one? I might have to. I think I did something different here on the day. Is this a week? Yeah, daily time frame. I think on the daily time frame, I was able to draw out some additional ones. And let me make sure by looking in here. This is the one from the weekly. I know it's this one right here. I know it for sure now. But let's see. Raise up, raise down. Let me just delete that. Let's see. No. There we go. So I did capture some additional ones in here for Solana, and the reason why is because we respected each and every last one of these. We got some sort of a reaction off of it. So Solana already in here is getting a little bit of a reaction. I would expect for it to do the same thing right here. Okay. So you can see how with the additional ones, how we got some sort of a reaction. So it once you connect the two, the next one should give you some sort of a reaction. We got one there, and then we fell through. We came down to this one here, where we had this connect point and this connect point right here. We fell through here. We got a reaction there, and we got resistance off of there. So then once you lose it, you come to your next one. This is the connection point of this one through here to here. This one got 1, 2. So this one bounced 3 times. So that was one bounce right there for a really large reaction. And then you can see how it came here, and we got that little small reaction right there. We actually reclaimed back above this one. That was different because we didn't do that with any of the other ones, but we did reclaim on this one before getting the drop down. So now we're here. So it could be that we see like this is about the only buffers I was able to find, and it only makes itself clear to me on this daily time frame. It doesn't make itself clear to me on the weekly time frame. And I'm honestly going with the weekly, and the weekly suggests that we would do this one right here. This is the one. But I shared with you about a month back, I believe it was, that I went back to look at what the momentum was like through here for Solana, and that the gap that I had in between this one and this one, I was able to fill with these additional rays through here. So definitely at the support level, definitely at the bear market low. We don't typically take out that prior low. We don't. It will be different for us this time if we do it, and it's going to be bad for Solana because it could send it to the only place that we actually have some support, which is going to be here and here. If I'm going based on that weekly time frame. So it's a little bit concerning for me. Hold on, what did I turn off? I turned off my weeklies for that. I'm going to turn this one back on, and I'm going to turn off those rays right there. I'm going to switch us over here to this chart right here. All right. So here we are. Same thing. That's been on my chart. Here, I can turn that off. And same notes posted and shared right here. Less than 120, trouble. So in the bear market territory and being below the 145.40. These are all things that I posted a while back on Solana. And you can also see this little small right here. You see that little small area of consolidation? That's also a point of control right here for this little small area of consolidation that Solana's stalling out at also. that little small, you can see the red line running right there to that point of control right there. And then I did this here just to try to find a little bit more buffering for price action coming down. And you can see this section right here um, where we got that touch, this touch. It worked right there. So maybe a little something, something right there as well. There's something else you can, decide to add to your soul chart if you're going to be looking to trade Solana. And then right in here around 30, you have that value area high in here. But I mean, really, the support level through here is basically what you're looking at. That's it. You're looking at the support level through here where if price just absolutely loses right here because we don't have any buffering right here for Solana once that is gone. And then when we look at it here on the monthly time frame, um, here, I already got the cloud in here for you right here. This is what we do. This is the most that we do. We come into this cloud and we haven't had that too many times as we have on Bitcoin. So it's a really delicate space for Solana because we haven't had that. Solana hasn't been around as long as Bitcoin to just really say how valid this is gonna work. So it's concerning for me that if we do that, we're done. And a while back, I also shared the fact that through here, at this candle right here, this is where Solana lost to 50. And that was just the second time that Solana dropped below the 50, the mean on the RSI. That's just the second time that we've come down here. So maybe we can start to go sideways in here, maybe. But with the extra, you know, dip in Bitcoin and, of course, people start taking profits on meme coins and things like that, and Solana is being used. I mean, it can, it's a blessing and a curse at the same time for Sol. The way it's transacted, it's a blessing and a curse at the same time. And it's been really good about respecting, Fibonacci levels. It's been really good, but we're not respecting anything right here. And I can drop this by all means. I can pull this from lower. I can drop this and let's just say I go with this one right here. We're at the golden pocket. And if let's change, just take this 816 out. The only reason why I did that is because I really didn't have anything else in there. And I'm going to, I'll use this. Right here. Again, there really isn't anything in here for me to really be dependent on unless I reach back over here towards this little pivot that's over here. It's nothing new, but it doesn't mean that it couldn't work. But currently, I mean, if we draw it the way we have it, then we're at the golden pocket. I can even go all the way down here to the low. Just be nice. So let me take away this cloud. Oh, let me turn this on and make sure I'm catching that magnet. So yeah, golden pocket. We should not be below here. But we got some numbers, okay? We got some numbers, we got some information um, that we can use. And I'm gonna raise this up over here and we'll see what we're looking like by doing that. By raising it up and doing it like that, you know, we're below it. Mm. Solana's in a pickle. There's no other way of putting it. Solana's in a pickle. It's in a pickle. But let's consider this. Oh, no, I don't want to take that away. I need to keep that. Let me put this. Back in the day when I was young, I'm not a kid anymore. But some days I still wish I was a kid again. Let's see. I'm going to put one on because I got to have something. And I guess I'll deal with my. No, I'm going to deal with it now because it's going to irritate me. It's going to irritate me. I just need to shrink this in. I need to do it and still be real with the numbers. Gotta love the magnet. Gotta love the magnet. I don't need that. Yeah, just very critical, right where we're at right now. Very critical. The bottom of this right here, which is this low right here, is coming in at 75.35. Okay, 75.35. If anybody that needs that. Now, clearly, this chart right here has a head and shoulder formation. Will this play out? Heck no. This is not going to play out. Solana's not going to be down here in negative numbers. So forget that. That's not going to play out. Take a look at Ethereum. So in Ethereum, we finally left our zone. This was our little box right here that we remained inside of forever, which was just through here. We're finally out of that now. You know, we're finally out of this territory. Another perfect, another. I mean, this ain't gonna last, but hey, let me just boast about it while I can. Because one thing I'm good at is a freaking level. I pride myself on that one. But we've broken below this. There's nothing in here that suggests this daily time frame is, you know, is in safe haven. However, we know we're coming into our zone. This is where we held this. This is going to be the 786 right here. Support, support, resistance, resistance, support, support from the lower end, and then resistance. So we're coming into the 786. 786 is going to be a little bit of a buffer for Ethereum in here. You can take the whole zone if you want to take the whole zone, you know, but looking at that 786 at 2147.80, that's great. You can just use that. And if not that, then VWAP. Then VWAP. Now I did add, you know, I have this line through here from this little wedge structure in here that we got to break above, and we ended up falling back into them. Just darken the colors up on this a little bit, make it a little thicker. So VWAP, VWAP, VWAP at 15.19. Okay. If crap really, you know, Solana wets the bed, then 786 is not going to be our savior. And then we're going to be looking at 15.19, somewhere down in here. Now, I paired this trend line with it just in case, because this trend line isn't going to move. VWAP may move slightly. It won't move too much, especially off of this weekly time frame. But that's what you need to watch for Ethereum. Again, great support, resistance, support, resistance. This is great. This is really, really good. If you want, get the wick, get the reaction, but it's, in terms of accumulation, in terms of accumulating, there is no greater place to be. No greater place to be. If you believe in it, there's no greater place to be than to be accumulating right in here. Right here. No greater place to start doing that. It's not financial advice. I don't know your situation. But they're, you know, to accumulate up in here, why? But through here, there's no greater place to start doing it at. It's safer to do it right in here. So if we get that 786, great. Drop that 786, then VWAP. It hasn't ever done more than that before. Well, at least not through here. Now here, you know, it did. You know, let me just do it like that. Here it did. It straight rammed through to this VWAP right here. And the last couple of times it worked. So I'm looking at that trend line with this. And I think also, did I do that with, I'm asking you like you know. Let's take a look at the monthly and see what I had going on over there. But at least for these years, it has worked. You know, if it wasn't here, if it wasn't that, you know, it was this VWAP right here. Take a look at the numbers over here. VWAP 15.19 VWAP, and I think Solana's already in its bear market territory. Thinking that it was, and this is scaled, so we just tapping into it. There's no better place to accumulate than where we are right now. We just tapped this cloud. There's no better place. If you want to be a buyer, then here. Now, the only thing I did share with you recently was that Solana didn't have a pivot to break in here. There was no market structure to be broken in here off of this monthly time frame. There was market structure to be broken over here. There was market structure to be broken right here. There was market structure to be broken right here. Solana doesn't have that now, so that's the catalyst right there. You know, do we have to depend on that? Is that something that we have to look forward to? We don't usually take it out. We don't usually take out the prior low. We just don't. We didn't take out the prior low here. You can see we did not take it out. With this drop, we did not take it out. And that candle is right there. Let's see how far this data goes back right here. Yeah, you don't take it out here. Even with this right here, it doesn't take that out. It doesn't even take out this low right here. This is the only thing that I can see that's, you know, a little one-off is the fact that we don't have a break of structure on the monthly time frame for Ethereum unless we're losing this cloud right here and we're dropping further than we've dropped before in the past, which means VWAP will be out of the question. That would be the only thing I can see that could get us to the situation that we just saw right here, right here. And you can see this VWAP is all time. This is the all time, the almighty VWAP of VWAP, starting from the beginning. This is the all time. So you drop this VWAP on your chart for Ethereum, and you just go back to the very first candle on Coinbase. Very first candle on Coinbase. And that's what you're going to see. This. And that VWAP again, 1519. Yeah, we don't take out this low. 1519, we do not take out this low. But we'll see. We'll see. Measured move for the range that we were coiling in remains the same, and that puts us right down here around about the bottom side of this channel for this ascending channel support zone right here for Ethereum. This is our drop today, right here. Again, I'm getting a little bit of a reaction in here. Going to put in some bear divs. Obviously, we're going to put in some bear divs, but yeah, nice little reaction so far. Again, I did open up a scalp long on Bitcoin, to say the least. That is what I did right here. I'm going to leave some gaps behind as well. Doesn't mean that those gaps have to get filled, but we're going to leave some gaps around as well. We already have some gaps. And this is me just marking to see where we're going to actually break some structure. And of course, the only structure we broke was to the downside. And that was as soon as we lost this territory through here that we just started to roll over. I didn't see anything in here that indicated, let me turn that back on. Yeah. Yeah. We dropped outside. When I'm referring to we dropped outside, I'm referring to this white line right here. It's no longer trading within the bounds of the cloud. It's outside the cloud. And it usually indicates some strength coming in once we start to cross back up above it. But yeah, we can see that already. Like this drop was crazy. RSI 11. Crazy. But it's been happening on the weekends. Bears are still very much in control. Anything that happens in here right now, it will not might be coming up pretty fast actually. It is coming up pretty fast. It is coming up pretty fast. Not Solana, but Ethereum at one point, it was trying to bounce off of that little point right here of consolidation that was there. There's anything else through here. But you know, you want to walk it down slowly. You know, this is 2066 to 1794. I think this one is untapped, I think. Yeah, this is untapped, meaning that price hasn't fallen through here. You take this out of the equation right here because I think that this is what created it. This fall over here created this block right here. And so price hasn't come back to it. I didn't block this one out. Okay, because I think that this was created from something back here. And so that got tapped. But this one right here hasn't been tapped. It's something like that. But again, on that one, that's 2066 to 1794. But more than anything, you know, you're going to be looking for that 786. It's going to be really important here for the price of Ethereum at 2747.80 right there. It's going to be really, really critical. in terms of what we do next. And then after that, after that's lost, if we lose that, then we're talking VWAP. But we did just tap that bear market high. We did just tap that. So, I mean, like I said, there's no greater place to start buying if you want it to be a long term holder than to be right here. Just keep in mind that the only concern that I have is that again, there's no structure break to be had in here unless we take this out. And I don't know how necessary that is. I said we haven't ever violated below here. Things can be very different right now. They weren't different to the upside for the most part, but I mean, yeah, a lot of hurt feelings in crypto. A lot of capital was moving into metals, or just trying to trade other things, which is understandable. It's safer. Metals were rallying pretty heavy. Speaking of which, I'm gonna jump onto metals too while I'm here before I go. But I did just want to cover Bitcoin, Solana, and Ethereum as we're getting the drop, just in case anybody had not been here before, didn't have levels to look at. It's just a couple of things that to be prepared for on this move to the downside. What you need to look for your buy zones and things like that. Bitcoin, personally, I'm not going to touch it in terms of a long term hold until we actually do come into the bear market territory. And again, that's going to be, yeah, we're going to have to come into here for me to at least 68, 467. Once we come into that, then this is where I have my discussion about accumulating Bitcoin, and we have this buffer through here too. Again, we're going to have some buffering right there. We're going to have some buffering back over here from that point. We're going to have some buffering right in here as well. So this is where I would start my accumulation at personally. I want to be as close to what I perceive to be the low as possible. As possible. I want to be as close to that as possible, so I don't continue to catch falling knives. I know that I have an area through here, and if it doesn't work, I don't think I have anything in my portfolio right now that I wouldn't be willing to cut. Nothing. Take a look at gold with you. Just wanted to clear something up over here in this chart. Dun, dun, dun. Um, right. So gold with the big tumble in here. I was saying that I was feeling like, okay, so we got down here to this momentum line right here on gold. We did get a bit of a reaction right down through here. There is still this gap sitting here on gold. I was assuming that maybe we might get down here into this gap right here. And then when I looked at VWAP for gold, we had just, and I bought some too. We had just tapped into this VWAP right here, and I think I programmed this VWAP right here for monthly. So the monthly period VWAP, anchor VWAP session is what I'm using. So yeah, we just dropped right here. The last time we came pretty close to it, but didn't actually tap it. And then right here, we hit it and we got the bounce away. So hopefully this right here will hold. Otherwise, we drop a little bit more here on gold, probably getting down there into that, to fill in that gap. And then that could be a good place. But I did pick up a little bit of gold, just on that. Not that it can't continue. Another right here, where it came into that monthly VWAP right there. A little different right in here though, but it has behaved pretty well around the VWAP through here. It has behaved pretty well. That's a little bit lower, but right here. So, that next me tell you what that next number is. I mean, you can always just, put on your VWAP, but below that, maybe about that 44.72, something like that. I looked at the same thing in here for silver. I was like, well, maybe silver hit about 66 because I think I had to move up onto a different metric for silver, I believe. I believe I did. But bears are very much in control. We talked about that the last time I streamed. From the 4 hour down, bears were in control of the chart. Now, when you move from the 4 hour, it was either neutral. Actually, sorry, let me. Uh, so when you move from the yeah, you can see neutral right there. So when you move from the and that selling pressure is coming up so fast. GGG. Move from the 4 hour to the daily and up. You either got neutral or you're, still bulls are in control, even with the slight little sell off that we got. Not even breaking below the 5 EMA just yet. And for the most part, price action has just been running with that 5 and 10 EMA all the way up and through here. So, I mean, at some point, yeah, these bird feathers are gonna flop down or something like that, but this is still up there. I mean, we know that we were pretty extended in here. Like I said to you, the day that this drop happened, actually, it's right before the drop happened. Right before the drop happened, I said, outside of 3, short is the place to be because you don't typically see an extension that takes you outside of a standard deviation 3. Standard deviation 2, you'll break through standard deviation 2, but when you start running the standard deviation 3, it is a lot. It is a lot. So just bear in mind what that looked like for us when we were looking at it on silver. Silver was so far outside of 3, I probably could have dropped a 4 on there. It was so far outside of it. And what happens is you come back. You usually come back towards your mean. Gold had not been doing that until when? Until here. And here. And here. So when you're out, like, this is a pocket right here. Very nice run, very nice run, very nice run, very nice run. Break that pocket. You come back towards the mean, or you'll come back down here towards the standard deviation 1. It usually doesn't actually hit in here. Like, the bands have to be really, really tight in order to come down here to standard deviation 2. And in most occasions, you're not going to see that. Like, the bands you have to be in a sideways price range situation. So you usually don't see this bottom 2 right here get hit unless it's sideways consolidation. So at that point, everything is cooled off. It's sideways at that point. It's the only time you're really going to see that. But for the most part, you're going to be inside this pocket. You lose that pocket, you'll see this 20 SMA, or you'll come down here towards the standard deviation 1 for the most part. And it's close to that if you were to go off of it on this daily time frame right now, again, bouncing around the 20 SMA, lose that, and then start looking down here about 44.51. It will move over time, of course, but I mean, it's a Bollinger Band. You can just plot that onto your chart. Take a look at this one over here. I just did that one. Hold on. What else? Let me see. Put it on the weekly to just kind of see it. So yeah, see, you can see here, this right here, that was a big problem. That was a huge problem. So when we looked at it, like I said, outside of 3, short is where you want to be. And then I closed out my silver trade and kept yapping. And then when I come back and I look at the chart, it was like, God dang, when did all of this happen? But outside of 3, it's gonna, outside of 3, I just wasn't in the mood. I think it got so close to, if not outside of a 4, like right there, like that was some crazy stuff. That was crazy. You don't see that. You don't see that. And tell me anywhere else you see that. You don't see that. You don't see that. That's just some weird stuff. And all of that leverage, and this is 2015, honey. You don't see that. Like, you're not going to be up there. And anytime, like I said, you're outside of 3. Now, when you first break out of a squeeze, okay, it makes sense because you just came from a tight band to starting to break out. So it makes sense on an initial move. But after the initial move, it doesn't make sense if you're there. It just doesn't make sense to be that far outside of the deviation, like over euphoric. I hate to use the words overpriced, but just crazy. Like big money is already selling out because that's crazy. That's crazy. Profit is already being had. But yeah, you just don't see that. Right here, it happened. Guess what happened? That happened. That happened. But that, yeah, that you don't typically see that. And that was what we got here. Even on the monthly. Take a look at it here on the monthly. Right here, outside of it, whoosh, jeez, jeez. That's crazy. That's crazy. Not even on this monthly do you see that. Like right here, you see it. And what happened? Price came back in. And it didn't quite meet the mean on that one. So that was lucky. But you just don't it's not something that you're just gonna find, and when you do find it, yeah, like I said, you wanna short the crap out of that. You wanna short the crap. This is what we just went through. You wanna short the crap out of that. Hmm. And maybe if I wasn't streaming, I would've took that. But yeah, like that. You all up here. Jeez, hold on. That's 63. And then it continues. A little 64% sell off after such a that's 1980. Good Lord. 1980. Yeah. And silver was let's pull up in my bad. Silver was just as bad. Just as bad. See this? This is 4 on a monthly time frame. 4. Imagine where I have to be to explain why we're all the way up there. Let's see. Let's put a 6 in here. Okay, so not quite 6. Let's drop it to a 5. Dang. Dang. I'm just trying to see if I ever seen a 5 in here. Now we see this one over here, which is extreme, outside of 3, short where you want to be. Then it hits the oh no, that's a 3 right here. Yeah, outside of 3 right here. That's standard. Outside of 2, outside of 3, that's crazy. That is crazy. Outside of 3, sale, outside of 3, sale, outside of 3, sale. Sale every time you see it. Sale. Hit the sale button outside of 3. And it's gotten some pretty big sell-offs after doing that too. After doing that. Now I can understand it like just coming out of the squeeze, but at some point, nah, run it back. So what can we be looking at here on silver? And I have some levels marked out in here. Let me just adjust this back. What is that? Oh, that's the open. Um, set that back. Let's see. Right now, you can see that it has a long way to go. If we're gonna leave this euphoric state for silver, if silver's gonna leave this euphoric state, it's gonna come back below this standard deviation 2 right here. Because you're always gonna come back in. At some point, it's not if it's gonna happen, it's just when it happens. And it is when this time right here, but you're gonna come back in and you're gonna come back towards your mean. And right now the mean is all the way down here about 30 something bucks. 40 bucks right now for silver. it I would like to tell you it would take some time to see that happen, but based on this mess right here, and they'll probably go back and eat up some of this candle. No lie about it. It'll probably go back and eat up some of this candle, but at some point it comes back in, and you're gonna come back towards the mean. You're gonna do a mean reversion. It just is what it is. You're gonna do a mean reversion. And for anybody who shorted silver, if you're lucky, you'll get it all the way back down here somewhere, or at least back into the standard deviation to one from the bottom side up. You get it back somewhere in here. As far as what I was looking at here on, oh, I don't have it over here. Let me go back on it. I think I'm kind of. Oh, but this gap right here, I think this gap came from the monthly time frame. If I'm not mistaken. No, not the monthly. Let me see, weekly. Weekly gap. That was that gap right here left open in here for gold. And then you can see where you find your buffering support at. It's gonna be right here. It's a bad candle. Bad, bad, bad. 45.50, 44.71. It has fallen through some levels, but this is the one on the weekly time frame. So it's more reliable than anything on that may have been found on lower. So I don't think I have anything in here. Think, yeah, I had this one right here, but you can see that there was no choice but to do these right here off of a lower time frame. But in terms of a weekly time frame, you do have some support coming in right there, and then next level of support right here, just in case this gap fails. And then the momentum, it'll start breaking down these momentum lines and then break that when you don't have anything in between here other than to assume that you're going to get support there or to be all the way back down here somewhere. This is the next momentum line available. This is at around 4,038 for gold. Yeah. And this is set on, I think that this is still set on the monthly. Let me just see. If I do a year, it's not going to make sense. I can do a decade. Let's go for a decade. Whoa, 10 years. Good Lord. Only 10 years in. This has been absolutely wild. Just about to come down here and hit about that 46, 39, 10-year slope. Huh, interesting. But that's what I would watch for here on gold, looking for that gap to get filled. And if that gap so happens to fail, then this is going to be where the next area of support is going to come in at right here. Got that momentum line through here as well. And tell you who was performing way better. And you see silver broke through it right here. And these levels in here, these were more local for silver because silver didn't have anything really until it gets into here. Then it starts to have like um, some support in terms of the weekly time frame and where we are sitting at right now. But the rest of these were, well, not that one, but this right here was, an attempt of trying to find something on lower time frames if we weren't going to get as bearish as we are right now. But this just totally engulfed like dang near three candles right here, big outside bar. Um, but outside bars, they're really just a lot of volatility. So you can get another swing back up that can be just as large. So each swing in both directions can start to expand a lot. Lose that, then this is it right here. And I think that was what we said. Something like that. But this is this is the next area of support. It's going to be right here. And let me fix this because that just must have took it from the. Yeah, there we go. shoot, I don't know why they're so spread this out a little bit more. I mean, I hate to have to do that to make such a large area, but I don't have a choice. I think I did it off of a daily though. I think that's why it looked like that. I might have done it off of a daily. At least I thought I did. I can't really tell where I did it from now. But anyway, yeah, lose that, and you got this down here. Is it gonna get that far? Probably. Like that's a disaster. That's an absolute disaster. Um, Let me just see the Bollinger on this. Mm. And it stayed in this pocket for a long time before finally just puking. So yeah, I think we're at a place where we'll start to see it cool off a little bit in here. But the fact that it just flashed straight through that momentum line, didn't give two craps about it. I think it probably tried to bounce off of it a little bit. I look at it, but no, the heck it didn't. It did not. It did not at all. Not at all. But it is trying to come back up this momentum line right here, which has been really decent for this entire race run to the upside for, support. And right here, it abort. So yeah, I think we're going to come back up this. Um, Let me change this. I had it on monthly. Yeah, yeah. I mean, this is how we're seeing that trend line, that momentum line. This is exactly how we're seeing the momentum line that I drew out on the chart. It's exactly like this with that breakthrough right here. It's no different. It's no different. Let's just say we lose that, and then 66 was the level that I was looking at. 66, and I don't think it actually pukes below that. It's just not. Yeah, I don't think it actually pukes below that. 66. So we're here right now. I'm just trying to see if I ever seen it on that red, and that's that one time right there. Aside from that, I can't see that it's ever spends time down there in the red. Got a time right here. So it's possible. It's possible, but I do think that silver found a local floor for now. My opinion on it doesn't make it correct. Nothing in here suggests otherwise. Bears are still very much in control of this time frame over here. Nothing over here showing it's going to be cooling. You have to look back at it when market opens back up for it tomorrow, Sunday. Yeah, when market opens back up for it, take a look at it. In fact, I'll be here for it. Yeah, I can be here for that. For that, copper was one that wasn't falling off a cliff. Oh, I don't have copper in here. Sorry, I don't have copper in here. But let me put it on copper. There we go. Copper is holding up very well, very well. Even though copper was very extended, also, we didn't have any problems with figuring out where copper might go to because copper, yeah, copper held the trend line really well, very well. As did gold hold the trend line very well. That point connect. It helped very well. And then copper also, for the most part, just hasn't been losing this zone right here. Not too much. It's deviated over it a little bit, but it hasn't lost it too much. So Yeah, this has been a pretty good zone for copper. Copper is looking pretty decent right now. Selling pressure is not crazy. It's a neutral. It's neutral. Like gold reads bears, silver reads bears, copper reads neutral. Like it's chilling right now, and it was really extended outside of the bands as well. Because it was like, let's see, what were we looking at? Yeah, it was out there. Not nearly as devastating. And then copper had got a pullback already anyway, so copper just wasn't as bad. But right here, you can see how we're outside of that three right here for copper. We got a little bit of a reaction the last time we was outside the three right there. But again, it's just one of those things that you're not going to see too often. And if you see it, and like I said, outside of three, short is where you want to be. With the exception of when you first get a breakout from a squeeze, ignore it because bands are tight and the first move doesn't matter. So, um, yeah, first move just doesn't really matter too much, in my opinion. And just leave that one alone. And if it does it again, then you know it's a problem. The copper is at support in here right now. It did fall below the previous day low, so just bear that in mind. You know, it has fallen below the previous, well, what was the previous day low in here. Market structure is still intact for the most part in here because you did not get an actual closure below here, just a grab of the liquidity in here and holding the support. If it loses that, then I start to look down here. Wherever it is when it lands somewhere along this line right here, it's like $5 and some change. And what do we have in here? Um, we got the highs in here that we can look at. Pretty good sandwich in here, so I like that. So yeah, we'll have this right here to look at. Somewhere around the $5, um, 550. We could call it 550. Somewhere right in there for copper, but looks pretty decent. Platinum, I don't really cover platinum a lot, but platinum is another one that held pretty well through here, coming into this ray of support in here. And this is the one from this connection point right here, here to here. That's this one. You can see this one right here that we actually, that first break right here. This was a measure, I've been saying like they usually pump somewhere off of a swing, somewhere about around about a 10 to 12% move up before they see some sort of a correction come in on them anyway. And this one, for some reason, I took it off at the top when I drew this one out. Took it off the top, and it didn't scrape over it too much. And then that's where the correction started at on this one. But um, it held pretty well in here. If it does start to lose that, of course, I start to go to wherever I have the momentum lines at. I just do because it seems to be a natural place of return for them. I don't know why this one. I did. I think I just. I think the other one was so close that I didn't like it being in here, but it doesn't mean that it's not, one to look at. It. I don't really. Or maybe I'm just confused about how I'm doing this one right here because it. What was the momentum like? I guess this was it. It's a little weird in here with this one for me. It's a little weird. And then this is running lower. Let me make sure that's the one. I'm gonna change the color on it. So I'm just bypassing this one altogether. Um, oh, and I'm all over here, all the way. Okay, so it runs straight through this one, so I don't have a problem with it. I don't need it. I don't need it because it runs straight through this one. So if we do continue to push down, then this is just a momentum line. I guess I'll be looking at this one right here um, for platinum and possibly the support that's this zone right here. And why am I not capturing this high? I don't know. I don't know. Let me just make sure I have that high in here. Let me see if anything else resonates with that. Okay, some more. That's it. I mean, this 4 hour right here reads bears in control, but it did hold rather well with coming into that trend line right there, and then these prior low area here for support. So I feel pretty good about copper and platinum. I feel pretty good about them. I won't be buying either one of them, but I feel pretty decent about both of those. And then it's so low in here. That's the other thing. Like I never seen. I mean, personally, I guess I haven't been around long enough either to really care about metals and stuff like that. But yeah, RSI was looking nasty, like really nasty, especially over there on gold. But doing way better than silver. Doing way better than silver. I guess silver just kind of silver fit the bill a lot better for a lot of people. You know, kind of like how we do with Ethereum. It's kind of fit the bill. Um, yeah, I think that's it for now on silver. That's it. Silver comes back up and trades back above here, pushes back up in here a little bit, and then we start to see it, slowly make that correction. And I think that's it for that. And if you don't know, you can trade these on Blowfin, which is where I've gotten into, trying to trade this here recently. Not too much, but you can trade this on Blowfin. On Blowfin chart, it's gonna look slightly different, but I just relate back to the actual chart itself when it comes to attempting to trade it anyway. And I think, yeah, it's like a 15-minute right here. This is what I was using when I was like, okay, I think this is it. And there you go with that VWAP right there. I was like, I think this is it right here. I think this is it. I'm gonna buy some right here. And that's what I did. That's what I did. First move up already, it's gonna be a little bit of a bear flag. And then unless price just actually comes through here with the candle to Valhalla um, here for gold once market opens. But definitely looks like we might have hit a local bottom for gold. All right, and I think that was pretty much it. We did take one, two, yeah, a trade on Sentient, and yeah, we cut that one on live because, like I said, I could see that it was going to come back, and I actually did flip on it and take a long on that. And then we did one on BNB, which I was like, make sure you take your profits on that. If we can get it back to the 786, then that would be a good, a good enough for me is what I said on that setup for BNB, and that's exactly what we tapped into. We tapped into that 786, and then the chart rolled over. We're looking at it here, looking at this right here, and I think I took it off of this high right here. No, I didn't take it off. I took it off of this one. Yeah, that's what it was. I took it off of this one. We came up. So if we can just at least get it back into that 786, we came up and hit that 786, and bam, 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 bam. But that was the little trade that we did on Binance BNB. Initially, it came up here and it hit this, and I was like, make sure you pay yourself. But I said, if I can just get into this 786, and I'm going to be good on it, and then it started to roll over right here. There was one other one that we did also. Actually, we didn't take it because I couldn't take it on Blowfin, and by the time I decided I wanted to get into it, it had already started to break. It didn't break that far, you know. And then I think I may have looked at it from this chart right here. Yeah, it was this. And I wasn't even looking for much off of it. And I was like, oh, okay, I can trade it on Coinbase. I'm like, okay, I'll go over to Coinbase and I'll trade it. It was watching it on a 15-minute time frame. I was just looking at this measure move right here for this ascending triangle, and I'll be damned if this thing right here didn't actually pump. When I saw that, ugh, And here, this is the point right here where we're on stream right before the breakout happened. I'm like, okay, I can trade it on Coinbase. This one little candle right here stopped me from wanting to take that trade. That one little break in that pattern was like, man, I'm too late. I'm too late. Is what I said. I'm too late. And then all of that happened, and it was so slow. It was moving so slow, like we were already into the stream quite a bit. This right here took 30 minutes. No, an hour. It's a 15-minute chart. It took an hour after this candle. It was moving so slow, and then all of a sudden, this thing just started to grind up. So, if you were able to trade it, which is why I said if you were able to trade it or whatever, but this candle right here, this one little candle right here, because I was like, maybe it does this right here. Maybe it does this measured move, and then glory be. Wind moon. Welcome back to Earth. There's gonna be no wind moon. We back on Earth. But yeah, it's one of few things. This along with sentient, and I really don't understand how sentient is doing it, but it's been getting these crazy little breaks to the upside, and then it cools off a little bit. Those have been two, I guess, two decent charts to trade. Rose has been another one, but it just started to take a flop. Um, who else was in here? No, that's the gold stuff. Yeah, Rose was doing pretty decent. I took this little trade right here, just earlier, based on me counting here, and then it started to pause out. I was like, maybe we'll get up into here, but I did take some profit once we came into this block right here. I took a little bit of profit, started to do this little double top crap, and then yeah. Um, Below here, if you're somebody who's into roles, below here is where you change market structure at on the daily time frame. That's how I proceeded with that. I think it was daily. Yeah, that's a daily break right through here, neckline break right here. And then if you take a measured move on that for Oasis, if this is going to be the depth of it, there's really no structure through here. Do it like that. Oh no, I don't believe in that. Can it happen? Absolutely. If Bitcoin just, but I don't know anything about that. And then I just marked out some key levels in here for it. But yeah, that's kind of crazy right there to think that Rose will be coming down here to take out this low down here. Kind of crazy. We'll see what happens. Got some levels through here, but that's the double top measure move. Is that? Trying to see where else a double top was. I can see this one right here. Let's just play with it for a second. Let me see this one right here. Yeah, what? Oh, hell. I guess it is possible. Oh, I guess it is possible. This is Blowfin chart. I'm sure Rose data goes back way further. Way further. Way further than that. Let me come up here to the top and see something else. Yeah. Not really anything other ones in here, but I guess it is possible. All things are possible. And it's I mean it I don't know. I was trying to find structure in here to see if maybe Rose was about to, continue this move to the upside in a big way. But so far, I don't see any actual structure in here that, especially with that October 10th candle, it just kind of ruined everything. So take that out of the equation, then maybe could add a 5 waiver or something like that, ABC, and then looking for a continuation to the upside. But I don't know about that now. Sentient, this is the thing that's been, acting wild in here. Like it doesn't look like it from this time frame right here, but every now and then it just gets these little breakouts in here. Does some crazy stuff. It came up and hit the golden pocket, and it's at this resistance in here. I'm too afraid to take it. And I said I was going to keep trying to short it because it just wasn't making sense to me. But I think I'm just kind of done with it, um, and I don't want to play with it anymore. It is at this resistance point, and it did also push into the golden pocket, which is where it's getting that bit of a rejection from right now. So, I mean, uh, I don't know. I don't know. This could be a wave three, so I just kind of want to stay away from that. If it is a wave three, wave one, wave two, maybe a wave three in progress. And if it is, then wave three would go a lot further than where this is right now, and do it like that. And so it'll be coming up here towards. Let's see if this set on dailies. That's a weekly. Okay, so this weekly level right here, you coming into this. I'm gonna take this one away. That's the one that is tapping on right now. But the 1.618 is right here with this weekly level right here, and then prior weekly candle high, and um, and then the 2.618 is right here. So I mean, maybe it is putting in 5 waves and then look at it after it completes that. But right now, yeah, I don't think that this is something to actually attempt to short on, even though it's hitting that resistance, even though it hit that golden pocket as well. I don't think it's one to really take a short on. Maybe I'm wrong, but it's definitely not doing anything else that the rest of the market is doing. So I'm just staying away from that. Else I looked at. Useless is absolutely useless. Useless is useless. So that's just a sinking ship. Pippin is ain't get no money from them bottoms. I don't know. Pippin ain't Pippin. Pippin ain't Pippin. Um, yeah, I really don't have anything else. I just wanted to come here and talk about River. Is just, yeah, sadness. Sadness on River. River's gonna retrace every freaking single thing. Everything. River's gonna retrace it. It hasn't held anything so far. I don't really rely on these highs in here either. So River was performing like a, I don't know, a G, but not anymore. Not anymore. This Bitcoin Cash, I was looking at this today, just kind of trying to figure out if I wanted to have something to do with this thing right here, and it turns out no. Below here, if you're into Bitcoin Cash, below here, you see how I marked that out on bearish. That puts you below your 20 SMA on your weekly time frame. I mean your 200 EMA on your weekly time frame. You're below your 200 in here. Like that's like it has to find some strength, some buyer, some something right in here. I was thinking about it like, okay, if it comes down, if it breaks this momentum line right here and comes down into this 786 pocket right here, that I would take a chance on it. But thank goodness I was busy and I didn't even bother with it because, yeah, it just blasted through there. But I knew that it had to actually hold right in here. Otherwise, didn't want to have anything to do with it. But here it is below the 200 EMA, which means that it can run a lot lower. Um, Maybe, yeah, it could run a lot lower. And I had just, I mean, yeah, yeah, this ain't what you want. And I think that double top, when I looked at it too, I think that double top on this had actually measured somewhere right about that 786, which is why I was going to get interested in it too. But I got busy, and no, that was right here, the sell side liquidity. So this must be phase. If I extended a little bit more, I extended a little bit more. It came down here towards the where you just absolutely need to hold. I don't think an additional one would just put it down here at this low right here. Um, yeah. Not good though. Below here is terrible. Below here is terrible. And then come down here and take out this equal low liquidity in here. Mm, take out this. That's a great place for market makers to come. Great place for market makers to come. They take that out, then Bitcoin Cash might just see itself somewhere back down through here. Um, I don't really know what else it has. Would make a good short though. If it comes back up a little bit, I'll be looking to short it. If it comes back up, um, maybe just back into these lows right here. See, that was good liquidity right here too. This somewhat semi-equal lows right here. Every time it does that, it's just such a great place to come to for price to drop back down below. So I believe that it will continue and take out these lows right here. But I would like to see a candle come up, retrace a little bit, at least back into here, and then reject and catch the short on that. This could be a five-way move to the downside. Just kind of like, it just made me think about how Rose was looking. If you paid attention to Rose, it looked just like this, the double top right there, the extra top right here. And then, yeah, this could be like a 1, 2. This is a 3. You get a little 4 on a pull back up, and then a fifth move to the downside, taking out that liquidity right here. If it doesn't just nuke all in one, because when we looked at Rose, it had that exact same formation. Where is Rose at? Right here. That exact same formation, but it was on a 15-minute time frame. But it's that exact same formation right there. See that? And double top, double top. That rollover, did a little bit of a pull, push back up, and then they're looking for a continuation to the downside. So yeah, because this didn't play out the way I expected for it to. Um, so with that, I think that pretty much wrapped it up in terms of what I came here to share with you. Just be on the lookout for a golden pocket break down into the golden pocket, even with a small little correction in here. Like I said, history has shown that when Bitcoin price is no, where's my monthly chart? Okay, I was on my monthly chart. That when we lose take that up, below the 26. Yeah, they break at the same time. 50 and 26 break at the same time, and then that's just a continuation. Like this didn't actually do a bounce at all. Not that you can tell on the monthly time frame when it broke down below the 50 right here, and it lost that 26 at the same time. Didn't actually do a bounce at all. Just continued to finish out the move, which again, the 40 something extra 40 something percent move will put it down here at the 786 closer to this 120, which is what we've always come back towards, somewhere around that. If you're looking at it from a weekly time frame, it's going to be like your 120, I believe, like your 200 and your 120. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't need to do that. I can use this chart right here, put it on the weekly. Yeah. So it's more so something like your 200 is right here, which I expect for it to be broken through for that golden pocket tap, and then the 400 right here, which is what it if you're looking at it from a weekly time frame, that's about what you're gonna get right here. That in between pocket. I don't know why it loves that. It loves that. It loves it right here. Loves it right there. It loves it right here. I like it. I was trying to show this the other day, and I couldn't find a good example on the chart that I was using. But yeah, this pocket right here. Like just say that this is if you had nothing else, you can say that this is my bear market territory. That price usually does this much right here. This is where I start buying at. Or like I said, we just tapped it according to my other indicator, but it does tend to fall back into here. 200, 400. Great place to buy some Bitcoin at, so you're not just buying these drops repeatedly. All right, and that's gonna conclude this for me. I really appreciate you for allowing me to be here with ya. Yeah, there it is. So, I mean, my long is not gonna stay open too much longer. It's barely in profit. It's only up right now, and I didn't take that wick either. I did not take that wick. I waited for price action to break above this trend line right here because obviously, you know, momentum wasn't even with the little bounce in here. There was no guarantee, and there's still no guarantee right here with the break above this trend line right here either. But I could tell as long as we were below it that we were still going to be falling down. There was no sense in testing it, that it would just continue that move to the downside. Nobody's like it's sideways right now. We probably stay like this for a minute, and this is barely up on anything. But I'm prepared to just go ahead and cut it, and you know, I think I got it. Like I said, I got it right where we started to come up on this candle right here. This candle right here is where I decided to buy some at, and it didn't get that far, and I knew it wasn't going to get that far because RSI was like extremely, extremely, extremely low. Anytime the RSI is that much in the dirt, the first move up is going to be a bearish divergence, and you might put in one or two more bear deals before it actually settles the stuff out. And we don't have the liquidity or anything like that in the market right now to consider like seeing some sort of a god candle move here to the upside. So just bear divs. Bear divs. If it managed to push up any higher, I wouldn't put it anywhere past the bottom side of this cloud right here. So it's about 79, 198 is about as much as I would give to it. I don't think that it would do anything more than that. But it's preparing to roll back over, so we know what we're looking for, which is just going to be lower. If it came up to like this right here for anybody who wasn't in a short, that would be a good place to get a short at. I think that would be a good place to get a short. And if you got so lucky to get anything more than that, then maybe back here into these lows right here. Um, yeah, maybe back into those lows right there. But I prefer it to stay exactly like it is, and if it's gonna continue down anyway, which is what I'm expecting. Yeah, just a roll over, just a roll over. This is about to break down right here. It's already got the, a couple of red candles, but this thing right here is gonna fall right back out, just like it did over here. Got this little small move right here, break back down to the downside. So stop loss going to entry. So, yeah, that's it. And I will see you. I'll come back once the market opens up for the metals. I'll come back for that tomorrow. Otherwise, I see you on Monday at 6. Appreciate you.